After expressing my gratitude to Valdor and Ramers, I decided to go to floor 70 of the labyrinth. Adalman, following yesterday's evolution ritual, had fallen into a deep sleep. His harvest festival was underway, but his castle was still fully wrecked, so we dragged him to a guest room up top and had him sleep there. Alberto and Venti were put into their own quarters as well, and I was sure they'd all be waking up soon enough. But the Imperial prisoners of war were a problem for me. Adalman was taking care of them, and it wouldn't be good to leave them unattended. Besides, I was hoping they were calm enough by now to give me some more information about the Empire. It was a good opportunity for that anyway, so I decided to go and check on them. I had my 2 secretaries accompanying me, and I figured that'd be enough to keep me safe through anything. You didn't have to go do this yourself, Sir Rimuru. Oh, you want to do it for me, then? Yes. Go down there and talk to them. Ka-ha-ha-ha-ha. Right. Off we go, then. Diablo never changes, does he? And maybe that's true for Xian, too. There's no way they'd voluntarily go down there. I'd never let Xian do this alone, I thought as she hugged me close to her chest. It was odd that they were both fine the day after the evolution ritual, though. Xian was still unchanged after a full 24 hours, and Diablo was completely back to his usual self. So did you manage to acquire any new abilities? Ka-ha-ha-ha-ha. Well, thanks to you, Sir Rimuru, I've finally succeeded in obtaining an ultimate skill. Now I don't have to sit there and fume while Guy annoys me with his bragging. I'm sure Guy found Diablo far more annoying than the other way around. Like, I'm totally confident about that. Well, if that was so frustrating for you, you should have acquired one on your own. I'm sure you could have figured out an ultimate skill without my help, Diablo. No, I couldn't have. If I gained the skill after Guy told me about his, it'd be like I was copying him. It would look terrible. I don't get it. This isn't about who's copying whom, you know. If there's something useful out there, why don't you just have him teach it to you? Or am I thinking about this so wrong? How narrow-minded of you, Diablo. Better to ask than go astray, as I think they say, and ever since Sir Rimuru taught me that, I've always striven to listen to what people have to say. Kabichi has taught me the true essence of cooking as well, and now I've acquired full mastery of my craft. Xian seemed awfully smug about that, but personally, I think Kabichi just wanted to get away from her. I really wish Kabichi wouldn't go giving Xian this strange confidence of hers, too. He needs to step up and take care of her to the bitter end, you know. Oh, was that the reason why Sir Kabichi was hospitalized a bit ago? If he had to put up with your cooking all the time, no wonder he fell ill. Maybe I shouldn't be chiding Kabichi, after all. But Diablo's gone through some tough times on this front as well, and Shuna doesn't even dare taste test anything Xian creates. So who'll deal with Xian's cooking? It's gonna have to be Benimaru, isn't it? Yeah. It's his responsibility to educate Xian, and I'll make sure that's clear with him. And I'm not saying that just because I want to needle the newlywed or anything. Please don't misunderstand me here. Xian got us all derailed, but as we chatted on, we reached our destination in no time. Once we were transported over to the hilly area of floor 70, we were greeted by some people who shot up and saluted the moment they saw us. I'm not sure that's really the appropriate thing to do with the demon lord of an enemy nation, but Diablo and Xian seemed satisfied with it, so I didn't quibble. Lord Rimuru has graced us with his presence. Summon Lord Caligulio at once. And with that, the soldiers started jogging to and fro, forming a column that led directly to a single tent. Caligulio was conducting a military conference in there, according to the people guiding the way for us. Inside the tent were 100 or so important-looking people. They all saluted, on their feet and demonstrating impeccable posture. Getting this treatment from the top brass surprised me a little. I mean, I'm the king of their enemy, and I'm in slime form right now, too. But nobody was looking down on me, and I guess Raphael's suggestion was more successful than expected. It's only natural, I suppose, if you think about it. If someone kills you and then brings you back to life, it's probably wise to fully submit to them. If I ran into someone like that, you can bet I wouldn't defy them. Convinced of this, I sat down on the seat at the head of the table I was guided to. I needed to be dignified here, so I changed over to human form, with Xian and Diablo behind me. Xian looked a little disappointed to not have me in her arms, but getting preoccupied with that was pointless, so I looked around the room and began to speak. Alright, folks. Having all the big shots in one place is kinda helpful to me, actually. Yes, my lord. They all bowed their heads at once. It was gonna be hard to talk with them like this, so I asked them to sit down before I began. Relax, guys, okay? I've got something I want to discuss. I gave them a warm smile. Hopefully this would ease their minds a little and enable us to have a nice, pleasant chit-chat. Adalman is busy with other matters at the moment, so he might not be able to come back for a while. So I was wondering if you guys had any requests for me right now. That is too kind of you, my lord. We are always well taken care of here, so please, do not concern yourself about our plights. Leash. So formal. Caligulio provided the answer for the rest of them, but this treatment was just beyond stuffy. Then again, they've lost the war, so I suppose this would be normal of them anyway. Well, great, then. So regarding our plans for the future. Yes, my lord. There is actually something we would all like you to do on that matter. They had a request after all, huh? I was fine with that, as long as it wasn't anything too unreasonable. Then Caligulio gave me quite a surprise. We are hoping that we could be taken care of within this country for the time being, so if possible, we'd like to ask for your continued kindness. I pressed for more details. According to Caligulio, they were actually discussing their future direction when I stopped in. The conclusion they came to was that, if they returned to the Empire, it was very likely they'd all be killed. Whoa, are you guys crazy? What kind of country kills the soldiers that fought for it just because they lost? I couldn't help but blurt that out. But I think that's exactly what will happen. Bernie, of all people, replied first. He was calm and logical now. It was hard to believe this was the same guy who attacked us. As he explained, nobody here could say that this grisly fate was impossible for them. So they'd sacrifice 1 million to awaken just one person. You've got to be kidding. It's the truth, my lord. Well, hang on. If that's true, then isn't it weird how they held off on a military invasion for so long, because they feared that Voldora's seal was broken? Maybe we had that wrong, and they were actually waiting for his return. I'm afraid that not even I can understand Emperor Ludora's thoughts on the matter. However, Lord Rimuru, I humbly believe that your observation is correct. Is this really Bernie? He was so polite that it seemed like a whole other person. But that's the deal here, huh? This guy Ludora's true objective wasn't just to win this war. He was going to pit the generals and soldiers of this empire against an enemy powerful enough to weed out the losers from those who'd be awakened by the experience. The sheer scale of this was too much for regular people to even comprehend. Report. It is an interesting idea. Stop that, Dumbus. There's nothing interesting about using human beings as test subjects. Raphael does act up like this sometimes, doesn't it? Sejun was a successful example of such experimentation. For all I know, maybe I'm being the guinea pig for some other experiment of Raphael's. Negative. There is no confirmation of such a situation. Oh, really? I mean, I believe you, but... Anyway, that could wait. The question was whether to accept Caligulio's request. You know, though, it costs money to feed all you guys. When we're talking 700,000 of you, that means importing food from other nations, too, so... If they're likely going to be killed back home, I'm a little hesitant to just kick them out of Tempest. But honestly speaking, there's no reason for us to take care of them. I'm only responsible for my own people. These guys, well, I'd like them to make the most of their lives, but I can't do everything, you know. If we take in an influx of 700,000 trained military personnel, our neighbors to the west aren't gonna keep quiet about that, Bloomond especially. In fact, it could even lead to needless blood being spilled. Still, it'd be kin to cold to just tell them to go home. I already saved their lives once, so I guess I should take responsibility for them right to the end. No other option, really, besides taking care of them. But I wasn't gonna do it for free. In our nation, you know, we have a credo that only those who put in the work deserve to have food on the table. If we're gonna feed you, we need you to work for it, but are you okay with that? The room had awaited my response with bated breath. Once I finished speaking, they all looked delighted. Absolutely, my lord. Order anything you want from us. They sure were motivated, even though I didn't tell them what they'd be doing yet. Either way, I'd allow them to stay here, then. I had assumed that prisoners of war didn't mean much to the Empire. There were no Geneva Conventions here, no rules that warring states were expected to follow. The way Bernie described it, these POWs wouldn't be much of a bargaining chip for negotiating a ceasefire. If so, better to just commit and accept them as a labor force. The length of their stay was still to be determined, but they'll be working for us until at least the end of the war. They may not be too useful if their stay here's too short, but we'll have to wait and see how that pans out. Hopefully they'll prove useful for something or other anyway. The officers here didn't seem to have any intention of defying me, at least. Maybe I could just leave them to Geld and have him take advantage. But he's in an evolutionary sleep right now and unavailable for a little while. So what can they do until he wakes up? By the way, are you guys any good at public works projects? It often comes as a surprise that a military would be full of people good at engineering. In my previous life, it was a well-known fact that when a warlord of the old Japan wanted to build a castle, his samurai were the ones who oversaw the construction. Even in modern times, Japan's self-defense forces played a huge role in things like disaster relief. The news would talk about how active they were in overseas aid projects and so on. Similarly, the engineers over in Dworgen have some pretty high-tech talent. They're not the most glamorous soldiers, but they're quite useful. It's no exaggeration to say that Kajin, ex-leader of the Dwarven Engineering Division, literally laid the foundation for that whole kingdom. So there's always been that link between the military and civil engineering, but Oh, of course. I'm proud to inform you that the Empire's technological capabilities are the best in the world. Good. In that case, let's see what they can do. Alright. Here's your first task, then you see that destroyed castle out there. I want you guys to restore it to its former glory for me. I'll work out the supplies for it, but I want you guys to handle everything else, from design on up. Can you do that? Since they destroyed it and all, I thought it'd be nice if they could fix it up as well. Caligulio eagerly nodded at me. As you wish, she said, looking supremely confident. A few men, presumably his staff, immediately got to work with all the swiftness of a well-oiled machine. They looked like people ready to do the job. Once Adalman wakes up, he could send some skeletons over to help out, and I think we could get this thing rebuilt in the not-too-distant future. Now the Imperial army had a job.